The Golden Goose, a tale of greed and wisdom. In a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a humble farmer named Ilyas. He worked hard from dawn till dusk, tending to his fields, caring for his animals, and nurturing his crops. Though life wasn't extravagant, Ilyas was content. He had everything he needed: a simple, warm home, a loving family, and the satisfaction of a hard day's work. But the one thing that made his life truly extraordinary was his goose. It wasn't an ordinary bird. No, this goose was magical. Each morning, as the sun rose over the horizon, Ilyas would walk to the barn where the goose was kept, only to find a beautiful, shimmering golden egg waiting for him. The egg was flawless, its surface smooth and gleaming in the light. Every day, there was another golden egg, and each one fetched a high price when sold at the market. With this steady income, Ilyas lived comfortably. His family had enough to eat, his children went to school, and he could afford small luxuries that many others could only dream of. Life was good, and though he wasn't a wealthy man by any means, he never complained. He knew that happiness did not come from gold, but from the simple joys of life and the love of his family. However, as time passed, a new feeling began to stir within Ilyas. He had always been grateful for the golden egg, but as the months went by, his mind started to wander. He began to wonder, what if I had more? What if the goose could lay more than one golden egg a day? Asterisk. Every time he visited the barn to collect the golden egg, the thought grew louder in his mind. Why settle for just one egg when I could have many? I could become a rich man, live in a grand house, send my children to the best schools, and never have to worry about money again. Why not take more from the goose? One morning, as he stood in the barn, holding the single golden egg in his hand, the idea hit him like a bolt of lightning. What if I were to open the goose? What if inside, there are countless golden eggs waiting to be discovered? If I cut it open, I could be rich beyond my wildest dreams. I wouldn't have to wait for the goose to lay one egg a day, I could have them all at once. This thought filled Ilyas's mind with such excitement and greed that he could hardly contain himself. He knew it was a rash idea, but the temptation was too strong. With no hesitation, he made up his mind. The goose had given him so much already, surely, it would give him more. That very day, Ilyas took his sharpest knife, walked to the barn, and approached the goose. The bird was peacefully resting, unaware of the fate that awaited it. Ilyas's heart raced as he stood over the creature, his hands trembling with anticipation. "I'm sorry, my dear friend," he whispered softly, almost as if he could hear the goose's thoughts. But his desire for wealth had clouded his judgment, and with a swift motion, he cut open the bird's belly. As the goose fell to the ground, Ilyas eagerly looked inside, expecting to find a treasure trove of gleaming golden eggs. But instead, he found nothing. The stomach of the goose was empty, just as it had been before. No golden eggs, no hidden fortune. His heart sank. He opened the goose further, searching frantically, but there was no magic inside. Only the empty, lifeless form of the creature that had once brought him so much joy. A deep sense of regret washed over Ilyas. He had been driven by greed, thinking that there was an endless supply of wealth to be gained from the goose. But in his haste, he had destroyed the very thing that had provided for him all this time. His foolishness had cost him everything. Ilyas sat down beside the lifeless body of the goose, feeling the weight of his actions pressing on his chest. His mind raced as he thought about the days and nights he had spent dreaming of riches and wealth, never once appreciating the simple blessings he already had. As the hours passed, Ilyas's thoughts began to shift. He realized the mistake he had made. The goose had never promised him endless riches. What it had given him was enough. It had provided for his family, brought him comfort, and allowed him to live a life free from worry. But instead of being grateful, he had allowed his greed to cloud his judgment. "I was foolish," Ilyas muttered to himself. "I wanted more than what I had, but I didn't realize that what I had was already enough. I had everything I needed." From that day forward, Ilyas swore he would never let greed guide his decisions again. He returned to his simple life, learning to appreciate the blessings he had once taken for granted. Though the goose was gone, its lesson remained etched in his heart forever. And so, Ilyas learned the most valuable lesson of all: contentment is the key to happiness, and greed only leads to ruin. He never forgot the goose that had given him so much, and he passed its story down to his children and grandchildren, reminding them to always be grateful for what they have, and never to let greed lead them astray.